Hey everyone, it's Anna, and I'm back with my top 5 vintage cookbooks. I've been collecting vintage cookbooks for quite some time, and I've been making videos for over a year now. These are 5 of my favorite vintage cookbooks from my collection. I've made videos on all of these. Bear in mind that these are in no particular order, and they are also subject to change, so I guess you could say these are my current favorites. So first, I'm starting with Betty Crocker's Cookbook for Boys and Girls. This is the 1975 edition. This particular printing is from 1984. It is the cookbook I had as a kid, and you can see how worn it is. The spine is a mess. There's food on the pages. It's creased. And you can see that this cookbook has been well loved over the years. I have made videos using 2 recipes from this book. The first one was the ghost cake with flaming eyes, and the other one is fairly recent. I made the peach double deckers. So I'll go ahead and link all of these videos in the description down below. Reasons I love this, other than very good childhood memories, I think the recipes in here are challenging for kids. They're easy recipes, but they're not too easy. I think kids would learn a lot of good cooking skills from this book. Also, wide-eyed no-crust pizzas, like this is the recipe that's on the cover, and I mean, doesn't that just pull you in? These are real recipes. A kid, or anybody really, could cook an entire meal from this book for their family. I think it does really help kids learn how to cook. Cooking is a pretty valuable life skill. So next I have Better Homes and Gardens Cooking for Two. This book was published in 1968. I love a 2-person cookbook. I live in a small household myself. I don't like a ton of leftovers. I can only eat leftovers for so long. Having recipes for 2, I mean, that's always nice, especially desserts. I find that a lot of desserts tend to make a huge amount of cake, a huge amount of cookies. This actually features some dessert recipes that are pretty tiny. I made a video of this book last year, and I made bacon big boys. That's what this is. These are delicious. I love this recipe. I have made it more than once, and you could make 2 of these for a small recipe. I find this to be like a good recipe for entertaining, so you could make like an entire tray of them. It's a very versatile recipe. It could be used as an entree or an appetizer. I think I made these and I cut them like in half so people could grab one and not have to have a whole one. This was a very good recipe. I will link this video down below because I highly recommend trying this. Remember, as I said, these are in no particular order because I love all of them for different reasons, but I love this one quite a bit. Teen Time Cooking with Carnation. This book was my entry into the Mary Blake universe. I've had this book for quite some time. Actually, I think this is a replacement copy. I want to say the first copy I had, Dottie nibbled. It was like on a low shelf, and when she was a puppy, Dottie nibbled the edge and had like a little bite out of the corner. So I think I found a replacement somewhere. I've had this book in my life for quite some time. I think I was maybe a teenager when I first picked it up. You know, Teen Time Cooking, gotta have the teenager cookbook. But I've always loved the illustrations in this. I don't know who did them. They're just amazing. I just love them. They're very colorful, and they just have that quality of being, you know, from the late 50s, early 60s. This book was published in 1958. The recipe I made from this book was beef and cheese spread, and it's pretty delightful. You can use it as a sandwich spread. I think you could also use it for like crackers as a dip. I really enjoyed it. Would make this recipe again. Okay, well, we have another Betty Crocker. This is Betty Crocker's Cookie Book. I made a pretty long video about this one because I love it so much. This book was originally published in 1963. This is the 2002 reprint. They re-released it, but it is just as it appeared back in the 60s. I remember spending time just looking through this book. You can see the cover is so beautiful, so colorful, just great photographs. I mean, they're so tempting. I just remember flipping through as a kid and just imagining all of these possible cookies that I could make. I just love that they have like a border of cookies on the first several pages of this cookbook. There's just so much to love about this book. It has holiday cookies, it has cookies for any time of year, fancy cookies, simple cookies. They have healthy cookies. I wouldn't recommend those. If you've watched my cookie book video from before, you might recall that growing up I made some sort of diet oatmeal cookie from this book with my mom, and it was so terrible that she actually wrote yuck in her copy. So don't make that recipe, but there are several other ones in here that I do recommend, such as Fudge Meltaways, which is what I made in my video. These may be called Fudge Meltaways in the cookie book. My Canadian friends set me straight, and these are actually very similar, if not the same, as Nanaimo bars. So call them what you will, they are very, very easy to make and very delicious. And finally, a book that I don't exactly know if this book got me started on collecting, but I know it was one of the early ones that I picked up that kind of sparked my interest in collecting vintage cookbooks, and that is Date Bait Bait. Date Bait is, I believe, my second video. I'll link it, but it's maybe a little bit painful to watch. I'm not gonna say that I'm awesome at making videos now, but I was a lot less awesome then. This book was originally published in 1952, and it does have a dust cover. I don't have the dust cover. This is how I purchased it back in the day when I was, gosh, I was probably like 12 years old or something. The format of this book is so funny to me. It's a little bit odd. It's a picture cookbook. Most of the ingredients and like the steps, they have some words, but a lot of it is communicated through pictures. There are some odd recipes in here. The ones that I made, I believe I made the two-tone special featuring anchovy paste. Not that anchovy paste is bad, it just wasn't particularly good in this recipe. And I also made cheesert snack, which I never ever did identify soft snappy cheese for certain. I made one version with cream cheese and one version with pub cheese. We don't know which one was right. It's one of the first books in my collection, so I had to return to it. It's definitely a favorite. It's definitely weird. I'm thinking of revisiting this cookbook and making another recipe from it. How would you feel if I started to revisit some of the cookbooks from my earlier videos? Would that be interesting? Would that be entertaining? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So those are my current top 5 favorite vintage cookbooks. Kind of a mix. Time-wise, they vary between the 50s through the 70s. My opinions could change. I could add some more books to my collection and have new favorites next month. It's very hard for me to choose exactly which ones I like the most, but you know, these are memorable for different reasons. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel by clicking on the red button below. This really helps my channel grow and gives more people the opportunity to watch my videos. Thanks again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!